Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast, where grit meets growth. With your host, Nick Espanet, bringing you stories of resilience, reinvention, and the real climb to success.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast. We're blessed today to have Amanda Larson join us. Amanda has a construction and engineering background and project management. She's a founder of AMAX Equity, and she's also an avid runner. Amanda, if you can, thank you so much for joining us today. If you can just let our guests know a little more about you, maybe a little more detail about what it is that you do.
No, thank you, Nick. It's exciting to be here. I know we've known each other for a minute, so it's exciting to see you again and touch base. So a little bit of background on what I do. I started my own company a couple years ago, full-time investor right now. So really what I do in a nutshell is I help primarily people who are nervous about the stock market or want to diversify or want to solve some tax problems. I help them invest passively into commercial real estate. And main focus is on apartments, and so solving people's problems is what I love to do.
Awesome, great stuff. And how about running? You do marathons, or you just run for joy?
Just for joy. I know that's wild, but I have not run competitively. I took up running a few years ago, almost out of necessity because they closed the gyms during COVID. So I started running, and it was like I just started and didn't stop. One of those things. So
that's awesome. I have a daughter. My middle daughter loves to run, and she's wanting to do a marathon. She's 17 and turns 18 in October. She wants to do a marathon before her 18th birthday. So she's done half marathons. She's done, I think, up to 18 miles on her own, somewhere up. I mean, she's done enough that I think I've done one marathon, and we trained. I think we either ran up to 18 or 20 miles and then ramped back down. And so she's close to that, and she's in a much better physical shape than I was in my 30s, I think, when I ran my marathon. And she does track at school, a distance runner, so she's definitely could probably go out and do it.
She just needs to show up. She does.
Exactly. She may get a blister or two, but she needs to build up to it. So awesome. Well, I know out there in the capital raising and in the multifamily or just investing side, there can be a lot of competition. So what's something that sets you apart from other people who might be doing it?
I would say, I work with a lot of oil and gas professionals, and so that's my background, engineering and construction. So I understand their pain points quite a bit. I've been there, I've done that. And then also, I haven't been investing for a long time. I started investing in 2010. So a little bit longer history than a lot. And also I grew up in a real estate family. So second generation, almost real estate investor. That's what my dad did. That's how they built their stable cash flow in retirement. So
nice. So you have that wisdom. Yeah. You're from your dad.
I grew up around it. And so he's still a point of contact that I lean into when things are getting a little crazy, even 2021, 2022, he looked at me and he said, that rents just can't keep going up forever. People are going to get stretched. And he was absolutely right. So
no, that's been a big hit. So if you took a pause there in 21 and 22, you received some tremendous wisdom. What we're hearing is, almost 80-90% of the deals bought, or pretty much any deal bought in 21 and 22, unless you got a steal somehow, was they've lost I've heard between 15% to 40% of their value, just between interest rates going up and all the deliveries in the major metros have really hurt on a lot of those deals bought at that time. So thank goodness your dad gave you some wisdom. So
unfortunately I didn't completely pause, but I did save myself a lot of headaches. Okay. So we're doing pretty good right now.
Good. Awesome. Is there anything in the industry or just in life in general that you find comes easier for you that maybe others find challenging?
I would say, I spend a lot of time working with investors, but what's easiest for me is the underwriting part. So engineering background, the numbers just make sense. And I think that does also set me apart from a lot of people who do work mostly with the investors. There's some people who are raising who don't always understand what they're raising for, I'm going to say, and they haven't underwritten their own deals. And I always underwrite. I always, if I can, I tour. I work with experienced partners, so it's almost the math side is what I lean into, which is what a lot of people run away from.
That's awesome. And that's good, especially on that capital side,
Hmm.
raising size or recruiting investors. No, I mean, that's when I talk to them, like you need to know the underwriting too, because you need to know what you're one, not only just to talk about it, but you want to make sure that you're not getting your investors into a bad deal because they're not gonna think, oh,
Yeah.
operator X is the one that was doing it. I went through Amanda to get there. So you want to make sure that the underwriting
Yeah.
is solid.
Yeah, I mean, a passive investor isn't necessarily going to know how to underwrite and what everything means, but if you're the conduit, I feel like you should know as much as you can. You don't have to be an expert, but you should know what you're getting into because otherwise you're just a passive investor.
Exactly. Exactly. So if someone's listening and wants to get better at underwriting or getting out raising capital, do you have any tips or suggestions for them?
There's so many free resources. I mean, I went through personal coaching as, that's kind of where we crossed
Yeah.
paths. And I don't think that's always necessary for somebody who's just wanting to invest. I think if you are wanting to be on the more active side, that's really helpful because it is that personal touch where
Mhm.
you might think you're doing something right until somebody tells you that's not quite how it's done. But otherwise, free resources. And I know, like, if people reach out to me with questions, I'm always happy to help. I'm not in the coaching business or in the consulting business, but I regularly answer investor questions about how things work, if they're trying to learn how to underwrite, things like that.
Awesome. Great stuff. So what is one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome in your career?
I would, on the real estate side, I would say raising capital. I walked into it thinking I was going to be on the full-time operator and other people were going to raise the capital. And I think at one point you were one or the other. But what I found, especially more recently, is everyone is raising capital. Everyone on the team, that's one of their main jobs. And so that was a challenge for me, but I'm really leaning into it and I'm enjoying it more and more as it gets easier.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think the more you practice it and
Mhm.
become accustomed with it in the lingo, that you definitely becomes easier. Still can be challenging depending on the market, but it's in building your relationships and your reputation to really help a lot.
And seeing the impact that it has on people, because that's why most of us are here is because it had a big impact on our lives and we saw how much freedom it gave us. I know that word is overused,
Yeah,
but how much and the choices and what it did for our lives. And so to see that happen for other people, that's really exciting.
that's good stuff. So it sounds like things are going pretty well in your world as people start having a little more success or they start thinking about opportunities for passive income to potentially replace their current income or maybe supplement it. What are your thoughts on passive income?
I would say that, I mean, it's passive in the sense that you're not working actively to do it, but your due diligence is like the one job that a passive investor has. And so learn enough or get around the right people so you know what you're getting into because there's a lot of deals out there, but not all of them are good deals. And I've never seen an investor slide deck that doesn't look like an amazing opportunity. And so get educated enough to take the first step and then recognize that there will be mistakes. No deal goes exactly as planned. And then just keep deploying capital because it's not a one and done situation. It's a deploy and then keep building, keep stacking, and keep
For sure.
redeploying. And that's the only way that you really build momentum.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, one cashes out or you have more money putting into another one. That's exactly
Mhm.
what we do at our house. So,
Yeah.
Amanda, as we're wrapping up the interview, do you have any exciting plans or initiatives in the next 6 to 12 months?
Oh, nothing specific on the horizon. What I am excited about is I see more opportunities come into the market. There for a couple of years, there was hardly any deal flow, like nothing. I feel like somebody put the brakes on and it kept being pushed out further and further and further. And now I'm starting to see more capital flow. I'm seeing more deals come to market that actually do start to pencil. So I'm hoping in the next, before end of year, to take advantage of that 100% bonus depreciation and help people save some money on their taxes.
That's awesome stuff. Yeah, definitely seeing more stuff opening up and coming on the market. And the offer, the whisper price is closer to the prices we're coming into. So hopefully we'll start seeing more transactions. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing tips and tricks with our listeners. If people would like to get in touch with you and find out more about what you do, Amanda, what's the best way they can reach out to you?
Yeah, the best way is just my email is amanda@amaxequity.com. That's AMAX or you can find me on my website and there's a contact me form. So those are probably the most direct ways.
And the website is AMAXequity.com.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thank you for listening, and be sure to keep tuning in.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks for listening to the Flex Forward podcast. If you've got grit, growth, and a great story, visit flexforwardpodcast.com/guest to apply and join us on the show.